there's certain situations where you're like, how to learn something, what you need to study in order to master it. Well, like patience, like there's not one thing that you can do to gain patience and what it is, it's just like, I feel like it's experiences, and that's what in turn is the currency of patience.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was fire.
Yes. It feels good to be here in Baltimore in the Watermelon Room, and we are here. The Respecting Perspectives podcast is live and direct, and I have one of my best friends and truly an inspiring person. Who do I have? Tell him who you are, and what you're doing here. How'd you get here? Give me some, man.
Well, my name is Michael Morstein. I guess when you ask me what I'm doing or how I got here, my mind first thinks of, I guess, how do I know you? And that is through the Baltimore music scene and the Baltimore art community. I currently curate something called PRISM Baltimore, and we throw events that are basically music and art, cross genres and cross cultural, to help build bridges within the community, help build actual community, and just make life cooler, because life is hard as hell for a lot of us, so we need to do things that bring us all together and provide joy to people, and ourselves.
Let me tell you something. You are definitely one of the original keepers of the cool. I'm not lying. Like, I heard that term before, and there were a few people who came to mind, and the keepers of the cool, dude. I'm telling you, like,
never heard the term.
Well, let me here it is.
Okay.
It really, you're able to take all the things that you've learned in your life and turn them into something that is from the heart and meaningful. And you can tell that the way that you move and the way that you interact with people is extremely genuine. And I just want our listeners to know that me and Mike have been friends for a long time, and I really value the friendship that we have, and I'm excited to have you here.
Word up. Yeah, word up.
Man.
Yeah.
Dude, is there anything, specifically that you feel like you'd like to bring to the forefront, or I mean, because we've had many conversations in the past, like week or two, and it's like, that's the coolest part about all this, is like, where we can end up in a conversation, and it's brought some really awesome topics and insights, and I'd love some of yours, dude.
Well, I guess like I'm willing to conversate whichever way the conversation flows. If you ask me, I think your question was, what are some things I want to bring to the forefront, I guess, and I guess that would be yourself. Always follow what's in your heart. Whatever your intuition is or that gut feeling is that you feel inside, listen to it and even test it out. You know what I mean? If you don't believe it, okay. Just test it out, follow it certain times, and think to yourself, all right, I'm going to see how this goes. If it doesn't go well, mark it down that it didn't go well. Mm-hmm. If it does go well, mark that down and see that you might see, at least that I found, that more often than not, when you listen to it, things work out. And a lot of times when you don't, things may not work out so well. And then I would add in what goes on top of that is never stop believing in yourself or anything that you want to do. Just like, we've known each other for a few years, and I remember when I would run into you at parties and events around town, and you would talk about things you had in mind. None of this existed yet. And now here you are, and this is like a real fire setup. It's a real dope podcast.
Thank you.
Dope concept, respecting perspectives. which I think is something that's integral if we want to have a better world or a better society, is if all of us could start respecting each other's perspectives a little bit more, especially the ones that we don't agree with or don't understand. So yeah, always be yourself. You never know what's possible. Look at Andrew right here. He's got a dope podcast going. His music's sounding great. And a few years ago, it was something I heard him talk about, and now it's all here. So yeah.
Right. Back in the day, I think I remember meeting you. I was always the one in the back of the room freestyling, you know, just like, you know, and but that was practice, you know. I was in the back of the room just practicing, and being able to freestyle was one of the things that really like helped me like break the ice. You know, it's easy to remember we were talking the other day about starting a conversation and what it takes to do that, and how some people are more comfortable, you know, with doing, you know, starting a conversation as opposed to, you know, the one to, I guess you could say, finish the conversation. But it makes you think about, you know, what that icebreaker is going to be. You know, it can be something as small as, you know, just like a physical attribute or something, or, you know, something as large as like, you know, the setting that you're in, you know. But it's really cool to think about that. And like, when you think of respecting perspectives, what does that make you think?
Just like, you know, like first I go to like culture, or, you know, people from different ethnicities, backgrounds, that have different lifestyles, that might think the other person's crazy for how they're living. Or politics is another, that's probably like the big one, the obvious one, where we seem to have this two-sided dichotomy where both sides just refuse to respect the other side's perspective. And whether that's justified or not, I'm not here to judge that. But it's clearly left us in a position where the two sides do not respect one another. And there's no way we can really move forward. Imagine like you and someone in your life that you want to have a relationship with. And I don't mean that in any kind of romantic way or anything. You just want to know this person, be friends, acquaintances, work at the same business, whatever it is. You just have to have, you want to have a working relationship because you're going to be around this person.
Yeah.
And imagine if you and this person just refuse to sit at the same table, refuse to compromise, refuse to meet in the middle, both see the other person as a threat to whatever they stand for. You can't progress that way.
And I guess, sorry to interrupt you, but I guess like there's usually an action or something that happens that causes them to act like that, though, right? There's usually like a mishap, or, you know, something to where then they're like, right,
people are justified in what they're feeling, exactly. And that's what makes it so challenging. I'm not saying it's easy. I'll also be the first to say that sometimes I need to take that advice, you know what I mean? Sometimes I find myself sometimes not respecting a perspective that I'd be like, oh man, how can they see things that way? That's ridiculous, you know? And therefore I might act in a way that doesn't show respect towards that. Or maybe I don't feel that in my heart or whatever. But then when I think about it, I'm like, well, to what ends does that lead me? To what outcome? And ultimately, it's like sometimes your wisdom is ahead of your behavioral patterns or your trained way of you know, thinking and stuff. And so for me, sometimes I find myself not doing it, even though when I reflect upon it, I'm like, yeah, that's actually the goal. You know what I'm saying? We got to respect everybody from where they're at. And I get like things have happened that cause us to feel strongly one way or the other about things, but most people caught up in that have not done anything to one another. It's just their perspectives that people feel threatened by. And so I think when we get down to that, we have to say, hey, has this person actually harmed me, or do they just believe things that I don't agree with? And if the person hasn't harmed me, hasn't harmed my family, hasn't harmed my friends, maybe I should extend an olive branch. Maybe, and if we could do that, not just as individuals, but as a collective, you know, hopefully we could see a better world, a better society. And I guess what that leads to is a more, what's the word I'm looking for, accountable government, because it's harder to hold those in power accountable when we're down here fighting with one another.
Oh man, that's such a good point. It makes you think about, uh, you know, powers that be, and a certain structure, right? That's in place, and trying to understand, the levels of it, and where you land, and then like understanding that it shouldn't be levels. We should all be able to coexist, at the same level, right? At some point. Now, we've already, structured and built these layers, so it's like we're trying to, I think, me personally, find where I fit into that, groove, and how I can help like the people around me thrive, not just like be happy, but thrive. And I think the difference between that is like being happy with your current situation, but knowing that you taking certain action with your life can lead it to a full span of just you're really just in the moment as much as possible, and taking advantage of opportunities, right? Man, sometimes I can get, sorry, I get lost sometimes, and I'm trying to get the an idea out, and then I got a new one that's coming in. You got to download from over here, and I'm like, but it would sitting with you just really is getting me, getting things ticking, and it's cool to kind of think about those things, man.
Word, yeah. Well, we can go in any direction in the conversation, you know what I'm saying? So if at any time you're like, oh, I got this new, take it over here, just run with it,
Man, there was something that I talked to you about before, and I think it's something I really like to build on, and it was the fact that, like, mostly I would say, I guess, my generation, okay, I have been fortunate enough to have lived half of my life with a cell phone, and then hopefully or before, without half of my life without a cell phone, evenly.
Yeah.
And it makes you think about like technology itself, and in what direction is that going? Where do you see moments of opportunity for artists to kind of use technology in order to help them either build their brand, or let's see here, because you just seem really in touch with the people around you. Through social media and whatnot. You do a really good job of staying tapped in. And how do you do that, dude?
Well, I guess it's a roundabout question. So the technology obviously helps me stay tapped in, being online, being on social media, seeing what everybody's doing, just talking, staying connected to as many people that's as possible. That's inspiring to me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just how I stay tapped in. And I just, I go out, you know what I mean? If there's things I hear about that I'm able to get to, a lot of things around town, surprisingly so, there's a lot of things around town that are free. There's a lot of things around town that are cheap. And if you hear about them and you're off work, just take the extra time that you might have had to relax, and just go down to these events, and, you'll start to get tapped in, because there'll be people there that may not even be a part of that event. They're just in the audience, just like you.
Something
and
different.
You talk to somebody about whatever, and they end up telling you about something that they're doing, and you're like, oh, wow, I learned about a whole nother thing that's going on in Baltimore just because I went to this one thing. So get out and go as many things as possible. Technology definitely can help do that. Technology can also be used to kind of hold that back as well. So it's a lot about what technology you use and how the technology is being used by the companies that use them, and then it's also how you use the technology yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
But I like what you said about half our lives on one side.
Oh,
I like to call that we're living on the analog to digital bridge. You know what I mean? Where where like we started life analog and the digital still existed, but the theme of life was still analog. And then now it seems
Right.
like the theme is becoming digital fast.
Quick.
You know, you don't have to be, the earth is still the earth, you know, nature's still everywhere all around you.
Yeah.
It's not hard to unplug. It's just that so much of our culture is adapting now to the digital world. So culturally
Yeah.
speaking, we're culturally in the digital age. I feel like,
Yeah,
even
I
though
would
as a
agree.
species we're not, and we never really.
Never
I don't
can
believe we
be.
ever really. Yeah, can be
can't.
or have to be. But culturally, we are there now. And yeah, AI. You know, that's a whole thing. You know, I
Right.
like to think that a lot of artists I know are mad about AI. I'll say that. But as far as like disabilities or people with like maybe certain mental health conditions, I think AI could be good. You know, people that maybe don't
How
get out
so?
the house a lot. You
How
know,
so?
some people are isolated at home, can't get out. And the online the online world can become like a world, a whole immersive world for them. And so not everybody's able to do all the things that we do. And so for people
Gotcha.
like that, I think it's
Understanding.
I think it can be very positive. But yeah, as far as art goes, a lot of artists, they definitely seem to be mad about, like, you know, you hear Jay-Z verse over some other beat, or like, you know,
Right.
people, you want your flyer made for a show and you get it from the AI now in 5 seconds versus having an artist from the community. So it is posing problems, as well as everything in life can be a problem or a benefit, you know. And so again, it's how you use it, what you use, but also how, you know, they use it as well.
Oh, for sure. That's
Yeah.
a good point. When you think about that, there's so many different stories, right? There's like your story, and then there's my story, there's your story, and then there's our story, you know. And it's wild to know that there's, you know, that many different movies, you know, or
Yeah.
storylines of books are being written, you know, right now. When you think about like 8 billion, you know, people in the world, you know, do you think like it was supposed to be this many people? Do you think there was only supposed to be like a certain amount of people, or like?
I have no clue. I have no clue how many people were supposed to be here, but I also know the Earth is really big, and
Yeah.
so, you know, 8 billion sounds like a very big number when we hear that number. But
Right.
like, if you were to look up how many deer are on the Earth, and like deer live in every continent, so if you look up
Okay.
how many deer are on the Earth, I don't know what that number would be. I would assume billions as well.
Okay.
And I have heard before that like you could cram 8 billion of us in the state of Texas, they say.
Really?
I don't know how much room there would be for us to walk around still, but like they say that you could do that. And so I don't, you know, maybe there'll be 20 billion of us one day. Maybe, you know, who knows?
That's
Maybe.
you just really did put that into perspective for me, though. Like you really like took the amount of people like by like, you know, mass, or like, you know.
I think the problem with that is we talk about resources, and not just resources for us, but resources for like animals, for nature, just to continue thriving. And I believe
right.
that the earth is an abundant, very massive thing, and that we all come from it. Every being, you know, here comes from it, unless maybe not. You know what I'm saying? Maybe some of us came from space. Who knows? But
Look from up there. Look, there's a camera up there.
but it's all still from the universe, you know. And
Right, still from
I
the
believe that
universe.
it's our relationship to it that's more the problem, if there is a problem, than the amount of people that are here. And
Yeah.
like how many cells are in a body?
Right.
You know, like probably billions, you know,
Yeah.
billions. And so if there's like 8 billion stories, it's like that means like these story is made up of 8 billion stories.
Yo.
And I think that's pretty dope. And so, like, if you imagine having like
That
a
concept
trillion
is
stories,
crazy.
which there probably is, if you know, look apart the whole cosmos, then there probably is trillions of stories that comprise like this great story that we're all a
Right.
part of. That, yeah.
Man, dude, I love how you broke that down. One thing that we one thing that we were talking about was like the Ant-Man concept, you know, and just like the quantum, um, and right, it really does make you imagine all of the different things that are going on, you know, at the same time, and it's like, how can we be as productive as possible in a way that, you know, helps the things around you and, you know, yourself as you look into the mirror. So I think, you know, in order to help other people, though, like, you do truly have to figure out how to help yourself, right? And, you know, one of the topics that I like to talk about on this show is self-awareness. And, you know, what are some practices that other people can do in order to make discoveries in self-awareness?
Well, the first thing I would say that someone taught me many years ago, I guess I could say, and that is something real easy we can all kind of do. And if you meditate out there, it should be easier. But even if you don't, it's something easier something easy we can do, and that is 3 steps. And it's number 1 is slow down, number 2 is breathe, and number 3 is check in with your body. And so anytime you feel like, I don't know if I'm making the right decision, or should I be doing this, or I don't know what I should be doing, you feel like anxiety about, sorry if I hit the mic, you feel anxiety about a decision, or maybe you don't have a decision, maybe you aren't doing enough, and you're like, should I be doing something?
Right.
Well, if you have any of that confusion or anxiety or whatever, just slow down, take a break. Whatever you're doing, stop doing it. If you're shopping for groceries, wait till you're done shopping. If you're skateboarding, wait till you're done skateboarding. So slow
Hit that
down,
ollie and then
get done whatever you're doing, and go sit down on the couch, go sit down on your bed, go sit down in the grass, wherever it is you sit. And so that's slow down. And number 2, breathe. Take 3 deep breaths. And after you take 3 deep breaths and you try to bring yourself to a centered place, check in with your body. Ask yourself the question that you weren't inquiring about earlier. And the first reaction that your body gives is most likely your intuitive thought, your intuitive feeling. And usually from there, so like you have a feeling like, I got to pay my bill. And then usually your mind says, but you got 3 more days. Or you have to this date, and you have this conversation inside yourself about, well, okay, well, I'll go Friday, and I'll do it. If you just listen to that internal one, you'll never go wrong, is my point. So, like,
I like that.
It's not follow your heart as in follow your wants and like, oh, my desires. It's like your heart will literally tell you, like, yo, you need to check that bill. And then we'll look at the calendar and be like, oh, I got a few more days. And then something will come up, and it'll make us late. And it's like, oh, had we listened to the voice inside, it would have accounted for this hiccup that I was about to experience 3 days down the road. Yeah. So, wow. I think when we do that, that's what I was say help get inside self-awareness, you know, because it'll get you in touch, and the more you can practice listening to your intuition, like I said, it'll guide you, and to whatever your version of your highest self is here on earth. You know what I mean? I believe the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, source, brought us all here, and we all have encoded in us whatever it takes to grow to where we are. Just like every plant, every animal, they just got to be alive and get, you know, sunlight and water and the food they need, and then they grow into whatever they were planted here as a seed to be. Right. And so we're no different, and we just have to have faith in ourselves. You know what I mean? We have to believe in ourselves, trust ourselves, and a lot of us have trouble with that because the society that we live in, as we all know, is riddled with a lot of hardship that may not be needed for the human experience, in my mind. And to circle back, that's more of a reason why we create art, why we create music, why we create all these things to express ourselves as medicine to help us get through, you know, this life that we live in.
Man, let me tell you, music is the medicine for me, man. There's like, I've been able to make different songs that give me a particular, feeling. Now, sometimes, I'm either like lacking in like a particular thing, and I'm like, okay, how can I fill this? Or it just kind of ends up a certain way, just by chance and just experimentation, I guess you could say. But it's really cool to be able to fill that void myself. It makes me feel like I have some sort of power, and
Well, the music's magic, and so when people make it, it's a powerful thing.
yeah, dude. You would think like Harry Potter's in the
You kind of become Harry Potter when you
dude,
start making
I'm telling you, man, I'd be in there and I just have this, I'm able to like channel something. And man, let me tell you, dude, I never really thought that it could get this deep and like this meaningful. And, you're really one of the people that really makes me appreciative of art itself. And at your events, it's PRISM. Is it PRISM with a Z or with a S?
With a S, all caps, PRISM, PRISM, all caps.
Yeah, and his events have been something that really are very eclectic and all different kinds of sounds. It really shows you that if the idea is brought out properly, then you don't have to fit any particular mold. It shows that it's all kind of coming from a good place. And you should be really proud of the events that you throw. And he has been one of the people who just really kind of helped me understand how the proper events were to be thrown and how to bring a community together. So you should be proud of yourself for doing that. And how long have you been doing that, and what inspired getting so many people together for the right causes, man?
So this is a short long story.
Yeah.
And so basically, like, first I appreciate the compliments. Thank you I appreciate that. But how it worked out is this. Back to that intuition thing, I found myself, I wouldn't say it was in a rut, but in between phase of my life. I was working in an office setting every day, 40 hours a week, and I was just kind of like, why am I experiencing all this quote unquote synchronicity and stuff from the universe, whatever, woo woo woo. And I was just
trying to make sense of it.
I was like, I was like, it has to be for some higher purpose, some better reason. I'm looking for what can I do in life. I'm not feeling fulfilled by pretty much anything in my life at this point. And so I started asking for signs of how I could be used in the best way for the universe, for everybody else, to bring joy and healing to the world, while also making myself happy and healed and fulfilled.
Great point.
How could I bring that feeling to as many people as possible and myself? And I remember I'm sitting with some of my friends. We're playing Madden one day, and I'm trying to tell them about like probably some crazy conspiracy theory or something at the time. And one of my boys is just like, man, cut your shit, man. He points to like a bottle of Excedrin. He's like, you still eat McDonald's. You still take this for your headaches. Either shut the fuck up and do something about it.
Oh. That's a good friend.
He's like, I don't want to hear this shit from you. I'm like, damn, I felt him.
Ooh.
And again, without really much planning, just me being like, all right, I got to find something and change my life. I run into some people that are like basically doing spiritual activism. And without really even knowing, it's a even longer story.
Yeah.
But like, I just start basically at their second event, I show up. I don't know any of them. But they invite us all back. Whoever was there, it was only like 7 or 8 people at the time. They invite us all back to some potluck type thing. And we do that. Next thing I know, it's like a meeting for the next one. So I'm feeling both weirded out because I'm like, hold up, I thought I was just here to hang out. Now I'm caught up in
Right.
some meeting for planning
A
something.
lot.
Well, I'm simultaneously like, hold up, I was asking the universe for something, and these people are literally talking about the same kind of stuff, like what's
Gotta
in our
let
food,
that line up.
you know, how's our government behaving, like what's really going on in our reality, how can you make the world a better place? The same stuff I would talk to my homies about. That's what they planning. The same I was asking to be, you know, how can I, you know, be used in a better way?
Yeah.
So I stick with it. Fast forward a few months. We have like 20 people coming to each of these talks, whatever, 30 people coming to each of these talks, and somebody's like the leader of the group, even though we didn't really have a leader. This person, I considered the one. They're like, why don't we throw a party to give back to everybody that's been coming to these events? Where everybody's like, cool.
For the people.
They're just like, Mike, don't you know a bunch of DJs and musicians and stuff? And at the time, I literally went 10 years thinking, why do I meet all these talented people? Because I don't play music. I don't make music.
Right?
I love music. I love art. But I'd always meet really talented people, and they'd want to like, oh, yo, you play this. Hey, yo, you make beats. Hey, yo, you. And as soon as I'd be like, no, it would be like this weird vibe. Like they expected. They're like, hold up, huh? And so like I was like, why do I meet all these talented people and I got nothing? I don't have nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
And so when they said that to me, I was like, damn, I kind of do. So I reached out to some people, and next thing I know, that this event comes, and they're all like, "This is you did this." I'm like, "Whoa, what are you doing?" I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I'm even calling them like, "Yo, come help," and they're like, "Nah, you got
He's
this."
like, "Wait a sec."
And hundreds of people came. It was really
Dude, that's
big.
pretty cool.
And it to this day was one of the best vibes I felt at a party in my life. Still, it was a really beautiful
That's got to be a good
experience.
feeling, right?
Yeah, and that day kind of changed my life. From that one day,
Nice.
I spent a year telling people that I'm not a promoter because they kept, aren't you the guy that throws shows? I want to go to your shows. I want to play your shows. I'm like, I don't throw shows. It was just one show. But after a while, I realized that like, okay, the universe is talking.
Yeah.
And so it's been about 15 years now from that, and I've thrown a little under 100 shows. So it's like it became,
man, dude, you should be super proud of that. That's really cool.
Yeah, and it's something that I can say I'm actually good at, and that I believe in, and that I love, and that it brings joy to me, and I see it bring joy to others. And so it's literally what I asked for, and all I had to do was just trust myself to follow into that.
Yeah.
And the universe kind of did the rest. So I'm real blessed. I'm real lucky to be here. Yeah, that's
nice.
that story. Yeah,
I love that, man. I love how you got deep real quick. Kind of painted the picture. You had to build the outside, and then you had to add some color to it and really help us understand, where you're coming from. And it's cool to get another piece, of a puzzle, because everybody is just a puzzle, and there's certain people that you get, that you have the fortunate enough chance to, learn about. And, I feel like doing this podcast has really helped not only myself, but other people kind of just, step out of their comfort zone a little bit and maybe have a conversation or two that maybe they've like been either wanting to have for a while or like have been avoiding, for a while. There's so many different things that are going on in our head that like we're trying to understand. And I think talking about some of them, if not most of them, is really helpful to everyone, because, if you there's nothing better than knowing like other people are going through the same experience than you and kind of made it to the other side just like you did, and that feeling of just like accomplishment. And not even that, but like when it comes to this podcast, like having my mom on, and like, if I would have went to her and been like, "Hey Ma, do you want to be on the podcast?" She probably would have been like, "Hell no." Just because, it's just, you have to get to a certain point where you are just like open and vulnerable. And I think as an artist, that's kind of helped me build a tough skin with that. And I'm super grateful for that. And I'm super grateful for my mom, hopping on the podcast and doing what she did. But I just wanted to express my appreciation for all of those things. And there was something else I did want to bring up. When it comes to Baltimore hip hop, are there any artists that you either want to like shed some light to or want to just let know that they're doing a good job and that they're putting work in?
Sheesh. Well, that I mean, that's always a tough question because again, like this is not rehearsed. I'm not unrehearsed interview, so it's not like I'm prepared for these questions. And so off the top of my head, and there's always going to be someone that I leave out.
No,
you know what I mean?
that's
even
a
if
good
I name
point.
my own
Good
top
point.
5 favorite artists, it might be a different top 5 tomorrow based on what comes to my mind at the time.
Right.
But out of Baltimore right now, I would definitely say Ill Conscious and J Royale right now.
Nice.
Come to my mind immediately, simply for the fact that they're both dope MCs, but they're both, getting shows outside of Baltimore. They're not just getting shows in other states and other cities. They're getting shows in Europe. You know what I'm saying?
wow.
In other countries, and and they're doing features and getting features from established artists and legendary hip hop artists, and so those two guys to me are not only doing it big for Baltimore, but doing it big for hip hop culture and in general. But yeah, Baltimore has a lot of great hip hop artists.
What about maybe even outside, if not any other more in Baltimore? Maybe just like any artist that maybe has inspired you a little bit more recently, or
I would say Easy Jackson's another Baltimore artist.
Oh, nice.
I find his music personally to be inspirational. If you don't know, go listen to Be Great. I found his music inspirational before Be Great, you know what I'm saying? But go listen to Be Great by Easy Jackson. And,
yes.
If you want some inspiration.
Nice.
But
good plug.
Real shit. But nah, it's a lot of Baltimore artists that's dope. A kid named Raph Alpha can really spit.
Oh, cool.
And he'll be on our next event that by the time this airs would have already happened. So, but also
when is it though? Just drop it.
November the 1st.
Okay.
November the 1st.
Yeah, this should. But maybe we'll show like a snippet or something that'll be a little earlier to kind of under the rug.
We're lucky to be bringing Blue in Exile from LA.
Oh shit!
And Fashion from Fresno, and they'll be coming through on their Love the Ominous World tour, coming through Baltimore. And we'll have 3 rooms of music going all night, so it'll be kind of like a rave atmosphere.
Nice.
With hip-hop kind of as the centerpiece.
A little bit of...
But that's kind of what I do with PRISM, It's like, not to sidetrack, but...
No, this is a good point.
To answer
I like where you're going with this.
Earlier you said something about you don't have to fit into any box.
Oh.
Well, it's like when I first started doing this, it was mostly just dance music. And I saw instantly the power of that because I was coming from an activist background, and I was like, okay, at first I was like, I'm not a promoter, and that was because like I was about activism. But then when I seen it, like, this is a vehicle that can bring so many people together, I was like, what is activism if it's only 20 people that know stuff sharing the same information with one another?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just got the same group of people going out and doing protests, same group of people hanging out, you're not reaching the world,
Right.
And so these events were ways to bring lots of people together. And so I saw the power in that. And again, like, not that I even went after, it was like what I was brought to. And I was like, okay, well, this works for me. And I was like, this can really help build community. And I found that the dance music was better for that because when people are rapping or singing, we tend to look right at the stage. You know what I'm saying? We don't look at each other. But when the DJ comes on, a real dance party, everybody starts looking at each other. They dancing, they talking, whatever they're doing. There's DJs on. There's not much vocals. So I was like, yo, this is powerful for building relationships in the crowd.
Oh, that's a good point.
And so,
I like that.
and so
That's cool.
that's what I wanted to see continue. But I was like, how do I bring what I love, which is hip hop, into this so that I can represent more of myself while I'm doing this thing that's for the community, if that makes any kind of sense.
Oh,
Now,
definitely.
I still love the rave, don't get me wrong, but hip hop's just like more what I would
More grounded
a more
with it.
deeper connection. So I'm like, how do I bring that in here? And I was realizing that a lot of the kids in the dance scene still liked a lot of dope hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
But if you told them come to a hip hop show, they wouldn't go because the vibe that they think about when they hear the word hip hop, they think it's probably something that they don't really rock with you like that.
Gotcha.
So I'm like, nah. I'm like, nah, these people are dope. If I put them at the top of the party, not in the beginning when people are still sober, not like at the end when everybody's tired, but I put them right in the middle when everybody, because I noticed, let's keep it real. All right, we're going to get unfiltered for a second.
Yeah.
Let's keep it real. If you the DJ and you got the prime slot where half your crowd is on Molly and they're tripping,
right,
everyone going to love your set unless you suck.
Yeah,
so it's
yeah,
like
it's
people
just-
go
it's
home
just
being
gonna
like, "Yo,
happen.
killed it, yo, killed it, yo, killed it." It's because you got the sweet spot to sit inside.
Yeah,
of.
yeah.
You didn't have to even really kill it. You just had to not fuck it up. It's
just
like being a
not.
quarter. It's like Brock Purdy on the 49ers last year managed the team. You got so much talent around. You just managed the team and you straight. That's
Right,
what
the
having
team
prime,
should be the one to
That's
be
the
able to-
prime slot in a party. You just got to manage it. Now, if you're Tom Brady, Peyton Manning in the prime slot, that's when the real magic happens like that.
Yeah.
And so we want to do that, right? So anyway, I'm like, all right, I'm going to get these rappers that I think is seriously dope that I'm fans of. And we're going to not really interrupt the dance party too much. We're going to give it like 20 minutes of a straight hip hop set.
Okay.
At like midnight at these parties. And at first, the first few times it happened, the rappers would come over to me and be like, yo, you sure? Like, it's not going to fuck the vibe up? And I'm like, yo, trust me. Like, they're going to act weird at first. But after they hear the way you rapping, they're going to get drawn in.
Yeah.
And it would happen one after another. It would happen one after another.
Because there's detail and attention. There's attention to detail.
Because it's real hip hop.
Yeah.
Because it's real. When they hear real hip hop, they're like, oh, he really spit. Oh, shit. So now they brought into that. And so now here we are years later, and that's just like that's how I do PRISM now. You know what I mean? So now the people
I like
that
how
come
you
to
give us the
PRISM,
background on that.
they're
cool.
not even taking it as a new thing now. Now they come knowing that's part of the show. So now they're excited. And when there's a rapper on there they never heard of, they're excited because they're like, yo, we trust that he's only going to book like dope acts. You know what I mean? At least the people that come, dope in the opinion of the people that come to my shows. So,
which is what really kind of does matter, though,
that's
right?
all that counts,
Like,
right? Yeah, that's all that matters. You got to follow what's in you. And then what you come to find is there's always more people in the world that feel what you're feeling. That are resonating on the same frequency as you're resonating on, and they're gonna be the ones that's drawn to you. And you gotta let everybody kind of just get in where they fit in out here, because everybody does have somewhere where they fit in. So yeah, you know that's all you can go for. It's not a bad thing at all.
Yeah, man, dude, I love that. Dude, we got into some really cool stuff. You hear that? Is this the younger Michael Morstein? Okay. Yeah. Actually, perfect time. Your older self would like to tell you a few things. All right, here you go.
Damn.
Get real with me.
Yeah, when they first tell you about Bitcoin back in 2009, buy that shit, bro. Buy as much of that shit as possible, bro. You be straight. You'll never have to work again.
I love the way you took that.
Yeah, other than that, I'll just say keep your head up. It gets better. You're going to do a lot of dope shit, bro. A lot more dope shit than you probably think you're going to do. So it probably doesn't make sense for me to tell you now. But, yeah, just trust yourself, believe in yourself. And, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Nice.
Oh, yeah, and do this podcast with Andrew Cornwall.
Yo, I hope you had a pen. You were writing all that down. All right, love you, kid. Peace. Man, it makes you think, right? You got to kind of get in that space, you're like, okay, what have I learned in my entire life here that I can put into a conversation? Right? Man. So I have a few other questions for you here, and what we're going to do is, it's called rapid fire. And I'm going to ask you like an either or question, or like, pick like, a topping, on your favorite topping on your pizza or something like that. Okay. But a little bit more intricate. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Do you understand the rules?
I think so.
Okay. All right. Here we go. What's one thing you can't live without?
Sushi, God, and hip hop.
Oh, right to the point. There you go. 3. It's okay. Okay. Any superpower, what would it be?
Flight. Teleportation.
Yes. There you go. Bing. Okay. Daytime or nighttime?
Nighttime.
Yes, for sure. Favorite kind of flower?
Favorite kind of passion.
There you go. I love that. Okay, favorite Harry Potter film or book?
Damn. All right, so I haven't seen all of the Harry Potters.
Slipping.
It's crazy. About a month ago, my girlfriend who loves Harry Potter is like, you haven't seen them all? We need to go through and watch them all. So we started watching them recently.
Okay.
But I
get back to me on that one when you watch them all.
I'm going to have to say the first one or the second one probably for me.
Okay, for sure. All right. What's the most unique instrument?
Damn, the most unique instrument. I probably don't want to know the name of it. But I've seen crazy long stringed instruments. But I wouldn't say they're more unique. Unique.
Okay. Unique
Damn, I feel like so many things are unique in their own kind of way.
For sure.
Yeah, I couldn't name it.
Yeah, we'll skip that one.
There's this stringed instrument that's really long. It's like Japanese, and somebody has one in Baltimore that brought one to a PRISM.
Damn,
and,
that's pretty
I
cool.
thought that was really cool.
There you
So
go.
I'll go with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
The long string. Okay, if you had to listen, or you got to listen to one song for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Sheesh. Well, I would never want to hear that, because I think whatever song it was eventually would start to, I wouldn't like it, and anything you heard over and over again would suck. But I'm going to answer your question still. I just have to preface it with that.
Okay.
It would probably be Black Star Respiration Pete Rock remix.
Nice.
Featuring Black Thought.
Oh, there you go. Man, that's a good one. Okay, you ready? Planes, trains, or automobiles? Where you
Planes.
at? There you go. Okay. Favorite color?
Purple.
Nice. Okay. Okay, here we go. Favorite member of the Beatles?
I don't really know too much about each individual member. That sounds crazy, because I was watching Yellow Submarine, the cartoon, as a kid. My parents were into all that kind of stuff. I'm going to say Ringo Starr, because everybody always say his name is cool.
Right, there you go. Okay, Ringo, shout out to Ringo. 1 on the board for him. All right, what is my spirit animal?
Your spirit animal. Oh, boy. Saber-toothed tiger.
Yes, dog. Thank you for that. I feel it. I felt a 150-second saber-toothed tiger for a second. All right, you walk into the casino right now. What's the first thing you're playing? But money aside, just the game itself.
So, I've never actually been in a casino outside of a slot machine, and I've only done that, I believe, one time. But I would probably say, with the way the question was asked, blackjack, or go over to the sports betting section and check that out.
Oh, there you go. Okay, you ready? Best duo.
Kobe and Shaq.
There you go. Right to the point. Okay, favorite Pokemon.
Damn, man. See, my Beatles card is getting pulled. Now my nerd card getting pulled.
Come on,
Charizard.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Okay, favorite subject in school.
Sheesh. I didn't like any subjects in school, but in college it was philosophy.
Nice. Okay. If you could pick any season all year round, what would it be? Summer?
Fall.
Fall. There you go. Oh, well, then we're here, man. We're here now. All right. What's one thing you've always wanted to do but haven't yet?
One thing I've always wanted to do but haven't. Man. Probably go visit somewhere in Asia or Africa.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try. Let's help make that happen. Shoot.
Yeah.
But next time you talk to him, hopefully he's been to Asia. All right. All right. If you could spend 24 hours with any celebrity, who would it be?
Whew. That's crazy. I
Right.
guess this name just comes to my head right now. Jay Electronica.
There you go. Cool. Yeah, I like the way you took that. Okay. Worst pizza topping.
Pepperoni or mushrooms. No, mushrooms.
Take them out.
Mushrooms.
All right. Doritos or Pringles?
Depends on the flavor. The regular Doritos or the sour cream and onion Pringles.
Nice. Okay. Spinners or Spreewells?
Spreewells.
There you
I
go.
don't know why though.
There
I
you
don't know
go.
why though.
Okay. You ready? Coffee or tea?
Tea.
There you go. Man. Thank you. The rapid fire section can be a little dicey, you know?
Yeah, that's fun.
Isn't it? It's pretty cool. I asked, I try and ask everybody, you know, and I'm trying to change the questions up a little bit as we go too. Let's see here, man. You know, I really appreciate you taking the time to sit with me and go through some deep thought here and really just have a cool conversation, you know, and luckily, man, we've been able to do that a lot recently, and we just went to the Toby Wigwe show recently, and it was at the Lyric, right?
That was at the Kennedy Center.
Yeah, the Kennedy Center. Man, and it was so eye-opening, and to just be able to understand, you know, what an artist can do and like have that whole orchestra behind you, dude, that's got to feel so powerful. You know, how do you feel, you know, what did you get from the experience itself? And
I thought it was phenomenal. So I seen Toby live a few times, and I think he has one of the best live shows in live music as far as like from just the musical and entertainment value. Just a great stage performance, great music, choreography that's unlike whatever you consider typical. So he's just phenomenal, and in his own lane with it. And so to see him at the Kennedy Center, he didn't have all the dancers and things going on, which are more like, again, it's more of like a ballet type of thing going on. But what's the word looking for? Interpretive dance.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, so at the Kennedy Center, that was kind of not there because they had this like huge 50-person orchestra or whatever.
Yeah.
So that was fire. I just thought that was beautiful. You know, it was beautiful to see hip hop on that stage, you know, at the Kennedy Center. Yeah. Because I don't know if this is why, but I do know that Q-Tip curates the hip hop or a lot of the hip hop for the Kennedy Center, so maybe his influence is causing that. But
that's cool.
Either way, it's amazing. And it's just great because I just love music, and I think most of us like just love music. And so you hear classical music and hip hop kind of meeting, it makes a beautiful sound. So I just thought that was awesome.
Yeah, man. I was really blown away by just everything about it, and it really helped me. You know, it put the bar up for like where the dreams and the hopes and the aspirations can be, you know, like it just takes that bar and it, you know, and it puts it up a little bit higher, and I'm proud that it does, so that way once, you know, you get there, you know, you remember he was taking it in, he was just like, he was there to the last second, you know, like people were just clearing out.
Yeah, he was running down the front of the stage doing the high five thing. He was like, hey, I'll put this through the high five. He's running by everybody. Yeah, it was definitely a high point.
Man,
yeah,
that was crazy.
The limits of where you could go is there's no boundaries, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you heard the story a few years ago, but they had these B-boys go to the Vatican and break dance for the Pope. This is like a 20-year-old story now. It's like in the late 90s, I guess this happened.
Okay.
And they were asked the Pope what he thought of it, and he said, oh, this is a gift from God that he thought was supposed to be shared with the world. And so, again, like B-boying is being treated like that. We got Toby, and I'm sorry if I mispronounced his name, Wigwe.
Yeah. Right.
Performing at the Kennedy Center. Kendrick Lamar has also done it. Somebody else did it too recently. I forget who it was, but it's been a few people that have done it at the Kennedy Center.
Man, that's So look out for anybody else who's doing it.
Yeah,
in the
check
future.
the Kennedy Center events, and you'll see hip hop stuff going on there. Really amazing stuff. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, dude, I couldn't have pictured a better conversation, and really just grateful for your presence and your clear thought and the way that we're able to, take some small ideas and turn them into some big dreams and some big missions. And man, I gotta say, dude, I'm super appreciative of everything that you've done, and the bar that you've set, for other people and promoters and just musicians and artists themselves, to set that bar. And do you have any last minute thoughts or ideas that you want to get out?
I guess, yeah. I'm gonna just piggyback off what you just said and kind of just, I guess, close it out like this. A lot of the conversation we've had is gonna mirror like what a lot of conversations go on that in this space, and that is that there is no limits, there is no highest heights. You can always go higher than whatever the highest is. Just believe in yourself and all that talk, which is the truth, and it's really important. And I think we highlight that a lot of times because that's something we don't believe in. But I also want to say this: it's not always about that. Or as Kanye West said, if I aim for the stars, I might land on the cloud, right? So just do what you do the way a butterfly is a butterfly, a bird flies in the sky, a shark swims in the water, you know what I mean? A sea lion waddles along, does whatever it does. Just be whatever you do. And whether you end up being an artist making beautiful music in your home that gets therapeutic for yourself because you have a creative outlet, or you're an artist that makes music for your local community, or you're somebody that makes it to some sort of level of fame and establishment. The point is, in every local town across America and across the globe, in every country, there's local musicians, there's local painters, there's local dancers, there's local poets, everything, and they're in every town, and those people are giving the joy to their town, to their community, to their tribe. And so if you're blessed enough to be one of those people, never look down on that because you didn't make it famous. So this, there's no limit to it, but at the same time, really be present with the blessing that it is just to do anything with it at all.
Man, love that, dude.
Yeah, no doubt.
Thank you so much for breaking that down, and it really did make me appreciative of, the people and the family and the friends that I have, and I'm glad that you're one of them.
No doubt, brother. Blessed to know you as well.
Yeah, man. Thanks for being here, and for that, we have this episode of the Respecting Perspectives podcast. We'll see y'all on the flip side.